Can't
hear you.
Huh?
I can't hear you.
All right, let's try that again, this time without a mask. So you guys know we're still in the middle of pandemic, and it's been very difficult for a lot of people. But you know, we have to try to do our best to not spread the virus if we can. So, you know, whenever you have to wear a mask, doesn't mean we're happy about it. Anyways, so we have here a 2020 Toyota Supra. As you guys know, there's been a lot of speculation about this car and what it is. Is it a BMW? Is it a Toyota? I don't know. We're gonna look at it objectively today. Now this car, as you guys may know, I'm a big Toyota fan. I know a lot about Supras. And so I wanted to try one of these out. So I decided to go on my phone. I opened up one of these apps that lets you rent cars. I rented this car just to kind of, you know, get my own feel for it. And I can objectively look at it and see if I really like it or not. And obviously I'll tell you about it. I'll give you my opinion. Now, what I'm gonna do about this car is I'm gonna share with you what it is. I'm gonna look at all the features. I'm gonna share some things that I like, others that I don't. And then at the very end, I'm gonna tell you, is it a Supra or is it something else? So let's get started. So, what have we got here? Inline 6, turbocharged, BMW sourced, producing 335 horsepower as Toyota claims. However, we know based on dyno tests that the car's output is about 400 horsepower at the crank. Nothing really too special here. You have very plasticky stuff around. Toyota Supra on the side. Everything else is BMW so far that I'm seeing here. There's a sticker here with a Toyota logo, but everywhere you look, there's BMW. One thing that I can't find is the chassis code 890. As you know, if you look at all the other Supras, in the chassis code, you're gonna find 860, 870, 880, 890 is supposed to be the one for this one, but I can't seem to find it. If you guys know where it is, let me know. So let me give you some numbers. So 335 horsepower, 368 foot-pounds of torque, I think is what it is. About $50,000, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. It's not a bad deal. I mean, for $50,000, what else are you gonna get? A Tesla Model 3 performance, a used Chevy GT 350, new, there's not much. So if you're looking at it from what you get for what you're paying, it's not a bad deal. Okay, the new Supra. Let's look at it objectively. I gotta say though, immediately when I got into this car, my expectation was it's gonna drive like a BMW. And if you go by obviously looking at the BMW parts within the car, yeah, you're gonna say, well, the shifter straight from BMW, iDrive straight from BMW, temperature gauge, I mean, all these different things are from BMW. But if you did not know BMW well, this could blend in as a Toyota. The current lineup, if you take a look at the current lineup, it's got a lot of elements in here, design-wise, that are Toyota car. Now I've been driving it for a while, but immediately after I got into the car, I was expecting to feel like I was driving a BMW, and surprisingly, it didn't. So just, after driving for a while, the sitting position, it's pretty good. If you're looking from a performance perspective, the benchmark for this car was the Porsche Cayman. So, when you benchmark the benchmark, you're gonna get a good product, and this is a good product. There's a couple things that I don't feel are completely there. For instance, steering feel. It's not as good as the GT86 in terms of the driving experience, right? This is a more refined car. If you want something more raw, you want to go with the GT86. And my wife, she was riding with me, and she said, wow, these seats are so comfortable. They are very comfortable. They hug you in pretty well, which is what you want for tight corners like this one. But in reality, when you think about driving and the driving experience, I know that they have to balance a lot of things out. When you're designing a car, there's a lot of things to balance out, right? The daily driviness, the comfort levels, the quietness of the ride, and things like that for daily driving. But then also, when you're building a sports car, there's a way for you to find a tighter balance, I think. And certain cars do this better than others. This one, I feel like, if you think about when you're riding a horse, eventually you become one with the horse, and it gets to the point where if you look where you want to go, the horse follows. You don't even have to pull on the reins or anything. And driving a car, it's almost the opposite, right? You are the horse and the car is you. The car is touching the surface, and the car is telling you, through the seat, through the spine, through the steering wheel, is telling you, this is what I feel on the road. It's a little grippier here, it's a little bit softer here, I'm starting to slide. And the car tells you all these things, and then you respond, and you work together, right, to balance the car out. And I feel like this car is lacking a little bit of that connectness with the road. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel a lot of it, but it could be a little bit better. It's also, it's muted. Even when you put it on sport mode, which it is now, it's on sports mode. But you got this synthetic sound fed to you through the speakers. It's not the worst in the world, but as a driver, you always want that mechanical sound to everything, right? But I gotta tell you, I'm incredibly surprised with how fun this car is. If I had to choose, and price not being an object, between the GT86 and this one, I'll go for this one. Plenty more power, plenty more braking power, much more refined. You have a lot of comfort creatures in this car that you don't have in the GT86. So yeah, I mean, if I had to compare, this is a few steps up from the GT86. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So everybody talks about this, BMW this, BMW that. I like BMWs. I've had several BMWs. I have one right now, and I love the BMW brand, how they drive, the whole thing. And you do feel that BMW connectness when you drive this car. You hear the chimes, you hear the clicking noises, you hear the exhaust. It's very similar to, it's BMW, right? So you can't get away from that. All the parts are BMW. The suspension is BMW. The engine, it's a BMW parts bin, right? It's been put together from different cars. The whole front end suspension is from the M2. So it is what it is. But when you take all that into consideration, right, and you're looking at it objectively, you say, well, what's wrong with that, right? BMW builds great cars, great sporty cars. They're a driver's car, well tuned for the road. It's not the end of the world that it has all these BMW parts, if you're looking at it objectively. Had it had Kia products, Kia hardware, that that might be a different story. As a daily driver, though, this car is so much better than the competition, though. If you look at things like the Cayman, The Cayman, it's somehow it feels like you are a little bit less comfortable in a Cayman. GTR, much clunkier. It's you know, if you look at like things like Camaros and they're so much bigger, right? This is actually very doable as a daily driver. The ZF transmission, probably it's the top torque converted automatic there is. The Hellcat has the same transmission. This one behaves almost identical to the Hellcat that I drove not too long ago. It's the same transmission, and they're great, don't get me wrong. It reacts quickly, it shifts nicely. When you have it on normal mode, it's very smooth. You can't complain about it. When you put it on sport mode, it changes the shift points and all that. It feels really good. I can't complain about it. For being an automatic, it's quite good. The brakes are phenomenal. You know, I've been driving the back roads for a while, and there's no sense of fading or anything like that. You get on them hard, they respond really well, right? This car is impressive. That's one thing that I love. If you've ever driven, you know, any Supra power car, including a Supra, Force, Mark III, anything, you know that, you know, there's always this lag, right? And then just all hell breaks loose. This car is it almost really doesn't matter what gear you're in. It'll find its way and it'll get moving pretty quickly. Now at the very top end, when you hit it, you know, it does have right around 400 horsepower at the crank. So, you know, even a BPU Supra, it's not that quick at the top, but the torque is just amazing. That's what makes it really fun, that you can just very easily pick up and go. So, I've told you about the car. We've looked at it objectively. Should you buy one? Well, in my opinion, it really depends on who you are as a person and what your expectation of the car is. If you're looking for a lot of fun daily driver that you can also take to the track every now and then, yes, you should buy one. If you like BMWs and how BMWs are built and driven, yes, you should buy one as well. If you like the design, yes, you should also buy one. But this begs the question, is it a Supra? Am I buying a Supra? In my opinion, I think that all the ingredients are there. When you objectively look at it, is it a turbocharged inline six? Yes. Is it rear-wheel drive? Yes. Does it look great? Yes. Is it tunable? Yes. Can you make a lot of power? Yes. But I think the same way that you can go to Olive Garden and have an Italian meal. All the ingredients are there. The tomato sauce is there. The pasta is there. But is it an authentic Italian meal? That's for you to find out.